Williams.
Here.
Perez.
Yes.
Gurneak.
Here, on phone.
Segal.
Here.
Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine Law. Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act by mailing the schedule of the Township Committee to the Express Times and North Star Ledger newspaper, posting the copy on the Township Bulletin Board, and filing the copy with the Township Clerk.
Okay, I need a motion for the approval of our minutes from the September 22nd and October 6th, 2011 meetings.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Emiliani.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Perez.
Yes.
Gurneak.
Yes.
Segal.
Yes. Need a motion to receive and file monthly reports for tax collector, court, CFO, police, and sewer.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Emiliani.
I don't see all the reports here. Are they all here?
Yes, they are. Starting at tab 2.
Look through it.
Tab 2.
Okay.
You've got court, police.
Is it tax collector's picture?
Police.
Is it just looking different?
Then, after police is the collection, percentage report, that's taxes.
Okay, the percentage report.
Yeah. And then all the rest is.
Yes.
Okay, so Emiliani, yes. Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
Yes.
Need a motion to receive and charge various accounts and pay monthly bills.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Emiliani? No. Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes. Need a motion to open up for public comment.
Motion.
Second.
Bruce, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to make public comment, please come up and state your name and address.
Good evening. Hi. My name is Wen-Tsai Wang. I live on 12 Brielle Road, Stewartsville. I actually have a questions. I try to be a little more positive, or as positive I can be. So before the summer, I had decided to hire a pool guy to come to my house to install an in-ground pool. Now, throughout the summer, there were a lot of issues going on, and then what happened is that the pool guy come into my backyard, I dig a big hole. Later on, I found out without permit. So they said because we did not have a building department and the zoning, well, later on found out it doesn't work every day, blah, blah. Whatever issue, I really don't understand. But anyway, make a long story short, is that then the guy ran away. The company just not answering phone call, took $23,000, deliver health equipment with a big hole in the backyard. So I went ahead and reported it to the Greenwich Police Department 3 weeks ago. Filed complaint. So I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago. Then about almost 2 weeks later, I received a phone call from the police officer who took my report and basically telling me that he attempt to try to contact the guy, not returning the phone call. Therefore, it's not police department's responsibility. So, dig a hole in the backyard is a zoning issue, has nothing to do with them. Now, the reason I'm here, normally I would say, all right, then I will find a civil way of, to look for other ways. But funny thing is, about 3 weeks ago, actually almost 4 weeks ago, I sheltered 2 roosters in my backyard. Then on one Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, a police officer at our doorstep, because my neighbor complained about the rooster crowing at 7 o'clock in the morning. So being a good citizen, on Monday, first thing in the morning, I called Animal Control, Amanda, and then find a shelter and send those roosters away. So I guess my question here is that a rooster crowing at 7 o'clock in the morning, and police will be at my door at 7 o'clock in the morning, but while I have a complaint, like with a big hole in the backyard without a permit, and then I filed a complaint about paying $23,000, not delivering the equipment. but the police say it's not, their responsibility. So I want to know the differences. I mean, I guess, if even though the pool guy is over there in Pennsylvania, so I will expect the police officer, or at least the local person, contact the local police department, find out what's going on. Instead of come back and say to me, I didn't get a phone call back, and then, sorry, it's not, my responsibility. So I would like to, get some input from the township committeeman or woman to see if we can, I know what to do the next step.
Peter, you have any thoughts?
Well, not knowing as far as, your contract with the pool contractor, I don't know the facts of it. It could be a civil matter where you can sue them in civil court and try to collect the money that they owe you. It could be conceivably a criminal matter if they took money from you under false pretenses. In that case, you should probably go and talk to the county prosecutor's office about it. I'm not prejudging it, I don't know the facts, but probably that's who you should talk to. It would be the
So the local police department, like Greenwich Township Department, really they couldn't do anything
Well-
but respond to complaint to rooster crowing.
Well, that's an entirely different matter. I don't know why they responded to the rooster. Maybe someone complained, they came
Maybe.
out and they responded. It's totally different things.
Now the big digging hole in the backyard without is a zoning, because I was told that's a zoning complaint that I should go to the zoning to file a
Yeah.
complaint.
If you're, I'm not sure where you moved from to come here, but sometimes the people coming out from the city, they're not familiar with the rules and regulations that we have in this township, but there's zoning rules that the pool has to be in a certain location, so many feet back from the side yard and the front yard and the backyard, and you have to get a permit. Then you have to go to the construction office and get a construction permit regarding how the pool is actually constructed, and you pay them a fee, they give you a permit, but they won't give you the permit for that until you get the zoning permit. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a.
I understand that. I mean,
Winside,
yes.
Yeah.
let me just interject. I can
Sure.
understand why the resident would give the call. In the event that it's a noise ordinance, it's the sound.
Right.
That's why the resident probably called and said, complained. It's like firecrackers going off. It's like, so residents would pick up the phone and call the police department and say, it's bothering me, that kind of thing. So that's why the police department would respond, that kind of thing. But no one would know what happened to the pool and the pool man not finishing the project. Could they have said to you, contact the prosecutor's office, as Peter has indicated? Maybe that would have been a good idea to do on behalf of the police department, to tell you to do that, or what the next step is, or tell you to contact the consumer department, or say, what your next step could be, that they couldn't go after them in Pennsylvania, or something on that order. Maybe that's, or actually get an attorney, or go to, the Attorney General's office and start to file a complaint to find out if these people have done this before to other people. Maybe that's a road to take. Maybe they could have offered some sort of condolence, some sort of alternative for you, instead of, I'm sorry, that's all we can do. But I can see why they would respond to a resident calling for a noise issue.
Oh, I understand
So,
that.
yeah, I know. So that's why they would respond to the rooster crowing.
Yes, and I understand
like a
that.
firecracker. I know.
And I've been in good citizen, that's why I took care of it.
For a long time.
Right.
But, and I know you would probably expect something, some sort of reach out hand, because you would want them to help you in some way too, with some sort of
Absolutely.
alternative that they couldn't help you.
I will expect, because if we outsource the building department, we outsource, with zoning now, it's only come to 2 nights a month, I guess, in starting October, my understanding is. Now, okay, because we want to save some tax money that there's no use, it's not
When did the
frequent
pool
use.
start being dug up? I mean, you would know by that
When the pool was dug up, it was before Labor Day. And then, but then of course, since I wasn't in the business or I wasn't moved from the city either, but this first pool I put it in, I didn't know any, ordinance or zoning or any, requirement. So of course, we rely on the pool contractors to do it.
Did it say anything in your contract about who was responsible?
They are
for that?
responsible, yes. So therefore, assuming that when they come here to dig the hole, it was okay. But in light of all this, I guess my feeling is that, don't you think that our police department could have done a little more, like for example, in an effort trying to contact local department over there, like the police over there, trying to locate the guy, or return a phone call or do something, and then come back to me say, this is what we get, and this is the next step.
Once you know what I'll do, I'll talk with Chief Gazzo. Let me have a conversation with him. If you want to give me your phone number, let me have a conversation with him, and then I'll get back to you. I'm not sure what we can do, but maybe we can get you some information as far as how to, next steps.
Okay.
Okay, so
well,
if you can just come up and just give me your phone number so that I can give you a call back.
Okay.
Okay?
All right then.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you give me your phone number now before you leave, so that, just in case? It's right up here. Oh, you have it already? Okay. Yeah, I think we've spoken during community day planning, yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll let you know when I find out. Anyone else wishing to make public comment?
Hello, it's Patrick Miller from 500 Bloomsbury Road, Bloomsbury, New Jersey. I was here last month concerning an open issue between two identical businesses inside of Greenwich Township that one has followed the rules and one has not and gotten away with a lot. Understanding that they are in the court cases. Just want to give some background because as of this weekend, there's some other things that have come to light, and I want to bring those to the attention of the board and other people in the room. First of all, I want to say that this is not myself versus another kennel. It's about two kennels in the township not getting treated the same way, and I feel like I'm a redheaded stepchild in this one. I do believe in free enterprise. I do believe in people have choices. I believe that they have to make the right choices for their animals in this procedures. It bothers me that the other kennel in the township has done everything illegal, advertised illegally, and has been able to get away with it. So I'm a little tired of having money be taken out of my pocket because they've done things illegally and are still able to operate. We spent over $75,000 obtaining our first two resolutions. We've spent $28,000 in our second round of resolutions over some D1 variances, which I'll also bring that to everybody's attention. The other company in 1970 was given a resolution of just boarding. Since that time, they've added grooming to non-boarding dogs. They've added cat boarding, animal boarding, retail sales in a residential zone. Hours of operation are now from 6 in the morning till 7 at night in a residential zone. And now offer training after 7 o'clock in a residential zone without obtaining resolutions from the Greenwich Township. It was brought to me that they're advertising this, but they might not be doing it. If they're advertising it, they're doing it. I've also found former employees that will come here and state their violations. I don't think it's my job to bring them here. I think it's the township's job to follow up with these things because I have filed a verbal complaint last month. I'll file a verbal complaint this month, and if I have to file a formal complaint, I will. I'm tired of having to spend $28,000, not generating revenue, and not being open, where they're generating revenue, not paying property taxes, and still open. And they are in 4 court cases, but the 4 court cases only cover the buildings that they've built, not the resolution violations. I have a copy of the 4 the complaints the township filed against them, but it does not cover the resolutions, adding those different services, not obtaining the resolutions, and operating outside of their hours of operation. So we've already started down that path. Why has this happened? Why are they not been, for those particular things that they were in violation of, I know they have to obtain that, but why are they able to operate still and still get those things? They submitted to the Board of Adjustments. It was deemed incomplete over 45 days ago. And just because they've submitted their application, are they still allowed to be open and operate while they're obtaining their resolutions?
you know, I'm sure it's frustrating to you, but we have filed on 2 different levels. You know, we filed the Township's Construction Code Enforcement Agency, as you know, is the Department of Community Affairs. They have filed notices to cease and orders to pay penalty. That's being pursued against this particular property owner. Other than that, I don't want to comment on that case. But
I understand that.
I did recently meet with Mr. Herring, the head of the PCA at the Asbury office. He's aware of the case. He is following up on it. He's pursuing it. I expressed the township's concern about the matter. So that is being pursued by the state of New Jersey. On the other end, with the zoning violations, as you know, there's several cases that have been filed in municipal court. Those have been transferred to Wapatcong Township Municipal Court and are going to be heard there, I think on the 1st
Yeah,
of
November 1st.
November. So other than that, I can't really comment on the progress or the status
Have they
of
received a
that.
notice of having not to basically, they're not supposed to use the operations, or they bluntly advertise it? Not only here, on their social networks, and in all the different resident businesses that are out there. So how are they still able to advertise it if they're been told not to, or not to use these facilities?
The only thing I can tell you is if that's true, and if the judge rules in the case, he's probably going to take those factors into consideration.
So she's still able.
I don't want to prejudge the case because
I know, I'm not asking you to prejudge the case. I'm just trying to find out how she can open the doors at 6 o'clock, obtain dogs in a residential zone, and I know there's a lawsuit, but she's still doing it. No one has gone down there and said you cannot do this. Has been notified that she can or cannot do this.
that's all I can say right now.
So basically, that's the answer I get.
Does the committee have any jurisdiction over this? Or we?
Well, in a general way, yes, and over the zoning issues. But again, I don't want to get into something that's in litigation right now.
The only litigation that they are is the building violations, not the resolution violations.
We're talking about, I'm not sure what you mean by resolution violations.
I think let me put it in other words. I think Patrick is using the word resolution violations because of his experience in obtaining resolutions and knowing that that becomes the Bible, so to speak, or the guidelines for the applicant to abide by, as we know, anybody that sits on either planning or zoning board. What he said, and I've obviously spoken with Patrick about this, he's got a pending application for the zoning board and has been around a while. Apparently, what year did they get their original approval for the boarding?
For May 1970.
Okay, in 1970, they apparently got approval for a kennel for boarding. Since then, as you've heard, and as I think most of us know, there's been an expansion of the use. Well, it's all factual.
I know, but
It's all-
this
there's
is
no-
a case that's in
All right,
litigation. so-
I'll get to the point then.
Yeah.
That's completely factual information. In any event, fine. There has been no subsequent approval to allow for anything other than the boarding from the original
So-
approval.
so-
That's what he means.
So Mr. Miller is suggesting or alleging that the conditions of the approval of the January thing are not being upheld or they're being violated. Is that, because we're not saying that because we don't know.
I'm saying that, I understand what you're saying, but you can't talk about it. I'm saying that the code, how the property's built, how the buildings were built, all these expansion buildings, you have a case against that. The day-to-day operation of how many dogs she can have, the type of services she can add, the hours of operation are not being, do not have a formal complaint against it. But it's a zoning, I call it a resolution of binding contract between Greenwich Township and the homeowner. That, with the hours of operation, that part of the zoning has not been addressed. I understand the building side of it. I understand that totally. I understand she didn't get her Board of Adjustments approval, she didn't get all this for the construction side of it. But the day-to-day operation, hours of operation, adding cats, adding other animals has not been addressed.
I assume you sat down with the township zoning officer and discussed this with him?
He belongs to you guys. He's a subcontractor to you. I'm taking it right to the top.
Okay, but,
I understand, zoning officer,
no, but I mean, we don't, he is the guy who would go out and look to see if.
he's gonna look for you
verify
for
that-
guidance. He's looking to you for guidance.
That's really not the way it works, though. These people are legislators. They pass the zoning, they adopt the laws. He's the person that's charged with enforcing them.
As
So
he was instructing me, he's
really,
waiting for guidance from you. If I did that,
So you have spoken.
Back in July, I spoke to him about that. We met at the one time.
Well, yeah, and
Some
we
things-
took action on those things that were brought to our attention. You're bringing a whole bunch of new things which may or not be, I'm not a judge,
No,
would be
you don't.
zoning violations, but he would be the one to go to say, here's these violations, and then he would investigate them. I mean,
That's the
we're-
way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, we're not the police, as it were.
Then I will address it in an open request for the other 12 I have tomorrow. I'll put another one in there for that.
I'm not sure that an Oprah request is the appropriate way. I think if you want to communicate with him, you should either go see him personally and explain to him what your concerns are, or send him a written letter and say, hey, I think these violations A, B, and C are going on. Will you please investigate them and take appropriate action?
Okay. Oh, I also just want to get on file, and that's what my problem is now. There's two different, I understand there's the court case, and I understand there's some other stuff that I've seen with a blatant violation in the Greenwich Gazette, your local newspaper.
Okay.
We're not in a position to know
Oh, you're not?
whether it's a violation or not.
I think it is. It's only my opinion. It's not the board's. It's only mine.
Feel free to put it in writing to the zoning officer.
I will.
You know, then it's on record.
Okay. Those are pretty much how we stand, so I understand it with court cases, so, thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
So, once it goes to the zoning officer, then does it come to us, does it go to the police department, where does it
Zoning
go from
officer
there?
is the guy who's supposed to take whatever action is necessary. If he needs to discuss it with you, he'll come to you, but first step is to go to the zoning officer.
He doesn't need any permission or shouldn't seek any permission from us to enforce the zoning regulations. That's his job.
Okay, anyone else wishing to make public comment? Seeing none, motion to close? Do I have a motion to close?
Oh,
public comment?
motion, I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, Grace,
I'm sorry.
you're up first
I'm
on
up
the
first?
agenda.
Oh, okay. In your agenda packet, I actually have a few things tonight. I have two ordinances. One, both Elaine and Bruce know about. This is an ordinance for a capital improvement ordinance from the sewer capital improvement fund for a repair to the pump station. It was discussed at a sewer meeting, and I was asked to prepare it for this meeting. And we're simply introducing that ordinance to appropriate $30,000 for the repairs to the pump station. So that's the first ordinance. Do you want to do that, and then I'll keep going, or do you do that separate?
It's under my section. It's under my section.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay, so that's one ordinance that's in there. The next ordinance is an ordinance from the General Capital Improvement Fund for $3,750. That was an add-on tonight. Ken handed it out to you. What we need to do is purchase two fireproof file cabinets, 4-drawer cabinets for the tax office. We are required by state regulations to have a, I'm sorry, to have a filing system with every block and lot having their own file in it. We do not currently have that. So in order to do this, fireproof cabinets are very expensive. They're approximately $1,700 each plus delivery charges. So I've asked that you introduce that ordinance as well tonight. Do you want me to keep going? Or do you want to introduce the ordinance? I don't know how you want to do that, because I don't think that's under anybody else's section tonight.
Any questions or?
Why is this a capital improvements? Why isn't it just under a regular?
Well, they have more than a 5-year life, and we don't have the room in the budget right now to pay for it out of the current fund. So,
That's considered a capital item?
sure, it's fireproof cabinets have more than a 5-year life, so. we'll, And the expense, they're very pricey, these cabinets.
Where's that?
It's, Ken handed it out tonight, Peter.
Is it gonna be number, is it gonna be 14, Ken? Number?
Number 14.
Number 14.
Please look for that small amount in your capital.
Does the committee want to introduce this ordinance at this time?
This would be first reading, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I
yeah.
would say let's do it.
You want me to read it by title only?
Yes, please.
Ordinance number 2011-14, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $3,750 currently located within the capital improvement fund of the general capital fund of the Township of Greenwich, County of Warren, NJ, for the purchase of fireproof file cabinets.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Emiliani?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
And next up, I have 3 Chapter 159 resolutions in your packet. One was handed out this evening, the other 2 Ken had in the packet. They're each for grants that we're receiving that we must appropriate by adding to the 2011 municipal budget. They were not known at the time of adoption of the budget. These are actually, one of the police grants was just, it's a new program. They're going to be doing crackdown on drunk driving at the end of the year, so we have to add this to the budget. One is for the fire company, and the other is another police grant that we're just adding to the budget. So those are the 3 resolutions. They're 90.
Are there 2 in the packet?
2 in the packet and 1 that Tim handed out, yeah. Under section 3, resolution 91, 92, and then the one that was handed out is 94. So I need you to adopt those
We need
3
to do them
resolutions.
separately, Peter? or-
They're budget
You want to do
resolutions.
them separately? Of course wants to do them separately.
So I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2011-91.
A second.
Emiliani? Yes. Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
Make motion to adopt resolution 2011-92. I'm trying to give you all a chance here.
Yes.
No, second?
Yes, second.
Are you, yes,
Yeah.
second?
I'm just laying low because I don't have too much of a voice. so-
Emiliani?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak? Segal?
Yes.
Joe's coughing and I'm squeaking, so we're in good shape.
Then there's
And
resolution.
resolution 2011-90.
Well, you could do it in whatever order you want. There's also 93, which is a redemption.
Well, we talked about this.
Okay,
one.
so let's go to 94.
So I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2011-94. Also, accept one.
I'll second.
Emiliani? Yes. Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
Kim was a little faster, we could have these votes quicker.
And then the final resolution in my section is 2011-93, which is a tax lien redemption.
I'll make the motion for 2011-93.
And I'll second.
The only one here.
Emiliani?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
This is gonna be wonders for my minutes.
Yeah,
Cut and
so
paste.
you wanna-
Cut and
I'm not
paste,
talking.
Cut and paste.
The sewer one, you want to wait till your section then?
I don't care, do it.
Yeah, that's
Read it by title only, better for you to read it.
Save it.
Read it.
Yeah, I'm just looking for that one. That's the
That's-
30,
It's
is
under
that the
one section.
30,000? You want me to read
Yes,
it?
that's the
30,000.
30,000.
Read it by title only?
Yes. It's
Ordinance.
in my section, there it is.
Ordinance number 2011-13, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $30,000 currently located within the capital improvement fund of the sewer capital fund of the Township of Greenwich, County of Warren, NJ, for the repair of the Greenwich sewer pump station located at the end of Tyler Circle and adjacent to County Route 519 North.
Make that motion.
I'll second. You made it? I'll second.
Emiliani?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
On a side note on that one, the construction portion of that, because that includes the engineering, whatever, is expected to be in that area where we can use our shared services agreement with the school to have Victoria Stevens act as the certified purchasing agent and so we'll save the money going out for a bid.
I guess not, by your face.
No, but it's part of the
I
contract.
know, but
We'll do
you were
it.
supposed to contact her after our meeting. Okay.
And then finally, the last thing I have is I prepared an evaluation of my only employee that reports to me, Sharon Brown. As you all know, I'm leaving the township, and I felt that it was not only my responsibility, but also a requirement of our policies and procedures that I do an evaluation. I asked for input from colleagues, coworkers, committee members, and 8 of them were kind enough to do so. So I would like to hand these out to you. They're obviously confidential to you, and then ask that Kim share them with the newly elected officials once they're elected. Joe, I'll have yours for you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
I don't know if you heard me, Ken.
Joe?
Yes.
Grace was just saying that she has a copy of Sharon's performance review for you. She'll have it tomorrow morning for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, anything else?
I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I only have a couple things this evening. One is the Community Planning Month proclamation, and actually it happens to be October, and I know we're at the end of October, but we were asked to make this proclamation Community Planning Month, and it's to recognize the municipalities, counties, regional planning entities continually faces challenges in the communities and natural environment. So therefore, let it be resolved that the month of October 2011 is hereby designated as Community Planning Month in Greenwich Township, New Jersey, in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month. And this it really has to do to recognize the valuable contributions made by so many professional planners in Greenwich, planning boards, board adjustments, and so forth. So to make October, even though it's the end of the month, Community Planning Month proclamation for Greenwich Township. So, do you need anything?
Nope, it's the mayor's proclamation.
Okay, so that's
You proclaim it.
my proclamation. Okay, thank you, Kim. Just one other thing, I think this is good news for Stewartsville. Probably many of you know that Metarex had closed its doors a while ago, and I received a letter dated October 17th, and I just want to read it. It says, Mayor Segal, it is my pleasure to, and this is from Bristol Myers Squibb, by the way. It is my pleasure to inform you that Bristol Myers Squibb plans to relocate 40 to 50 employees in biologics development to the former Metarex facility at 519 State Route 173 in Greenwich Township. Bristol Myers Squibb acquired the Route 173 site and 2 others in Annandale and Princeton Township with its acquisition of Metarex in September 2009. Our decision to reopen the Greenwich Township site for at least several years reflects the company's increasing investment in the research and development of state-of-the-art biologic medicines. Biologics uses proteins rather than chemicals as the building blocks of new medicines. Moving forward, experts predict as many as 1 in 4 new medicines will be a biologic. Bristol Myers Squibb is a global leader in this new technology. We anticipate reopening the Route 173 site by the end of the first quarter 2012, pending the receipt of any required permits from Greenwich Township or other authorities. The on-site manager for the project is Patrick McFarland, has the contact information, and it's signed by Frederick Aganoff, Director of Community Affairs, Bristol Myers Squibb. So that's good news that they're going to do that. Okay, that's all I have. So Joe, you're next on the agenda.
All right. The first item that I have on here, looking at your packet.
Joe, can you speak up just a little bit, please?
All right, is it better?
Yeah, better.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, if you look at your agenda, authorization to purchase from Destination Athletic, the amount of $9257.90 for soccer uniforms, equipment, and soccer goals. This money is coming out of there. It has nothing to do with the township. I mean, we're not paying this. This is coming out of there. Money that I put aside for this. So I guess I need a authorization to pay this.
And Joe, the reason we need the,
Wait, before we go any further with this,
Yeah.
my understanding is that recreation, if it's an amount exceeding $1,000 or more, they have to present it to the CFO or to Sharon, and then at that point, you know, along with 3 other bids, and then at that point, it's authorized, it's okay. As long as they have the money.
It's just like any other purchase, it goes into your files for your
Correct.
signatures. Right.
So why is this coming before us then?
I don't know.
So are there any other 3 bids?
I was gonna make that comment because,
That's it.
Quotes?
Yeah.
okay, Joe, what were you saying?
I was gonna make that comment because in conversation with Grace, I didn't believe that we had to get an approval for it, but since it was in the agenda, I figured I'd bring it up.
Angie came to me, asked if this could be on the agenda for approval from the committee for this purchase.
Yeah, but they don't need our approval for this
Okay, well,
purchase.
all right. We don't need the approval.
When he said this is not the
Peter, do we have to
township's
take any action
money.
then?
Well, it's the Recreation Commission's funds, it comes out of their registration fees, it's not the budgeted amount in the
Okay.
municipal budget.
So they have a
They have a
segregated.
Recreation Trust Fund, yeah.
Okay,
But
and-
we handle all of it, but, you know, the
We-
money's here and
I think
we write all the
I
checks,
think that Angie still misunderstands what
the purchasing
that,
procedures.
that whole little thing, that description that you wrote up.
Yeah.
Because she just misunderstood that.
And-
That's why
and-
it's
I
on
think
the
it's a matter of
agenda.
At any,
Clarify. It's on here.
at any rate, we can
She
put
came
on
to
the
me.
record that she did obtain several quotes.
Yes.
So this is the low quotation for these,
Yeah, because now it's on the record, so it's got to be.
Okay.
so,
Is the voucher in for payment then,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, then we
Okay,
don't
so
need
we
to
don't need
vote
to
on
take
it.
any action.
You
No.
just need to sign the
well,
voucher.
Grace would know better than,
I don't believe so.
okay.
All right.
Do you want to have them approve it just,
You can if you want to, but I don't think it's
Just sign
necessary.
the
I don't know that I want
I-
to start that
Why you
precedent.
I agree,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think that we should vote on
You need to clarify
this.
that
Yeah.
before you go and put it in writing and change it,
Mhm.
because that's where she's getting confused.
all right,
I'll
maybe
speak
what
for
we
her
should
now.
do is,
I
based
think you
on,
should
I'm just gonna write in the
re-clarify.
minutes voucher signed by the committee.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Joe,
It's
next,
it's also on the bill list, so you already approved the bill list, so.
oh, okay.
so Joe, the next item is fire department.
Yes, it's the second reading of the ordinance that we did last meeting regarding.
Okay,
So Peter will read it, Joe.
ordinance 2011-11, an ordinance amending and supplementing section 2-4 Fire Department of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Greenwich, Warren County, New Jersey, regarding the operations and organization of the Greenwich Township Fire Department and the duties and responsibilities of the fire chief and other officers.
We need to open the public hearing.
Motion to open.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
A second.
All in favor?
Uh, Anyone wishing to make a comment? None? Seeing none, motion to close.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Joe, emergency squad.
Oh, wait a minute, don't we have to adopt that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry.
You want to make the motion, Joe?
Yeah, I'll make the motion, sure.
I'll second it.
Williams?
Yes.
Oh, Emiliani?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Joe, it's adopted.
Okay. Joe?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
emergency.
the next item is appointment of a new member to the emergency squad, Sharon Provided, Hardenberg.
Sharon Hardenberg.
Sharon,
Yeah.
yeah. Hardenberg, okay. Anyway, I would like to give a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Emiliani?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
Gurneak?
You're out of line there.
Yeah, because you're not sitting here,
I
Jen.
looked up and I missed you.
Okay, Recreation Commission?
Okay, the last thing on my agenda is if you look in your package, you'll see that Peter's done a very good job of putting together the bylaws for the Recreation Commission. Now, Peter, are we to take action on this tonight, or is this a reading, or what?
That's up to the committee.
Did everyone get a chance to, I know Peter sent it in an email.
I didn't open email.
Didn't you send it yesterday, Peter? Or no,
Yeah,
a few days ago?
Yeah, I forget when, but it went,
I didn't open email, Peter, but did you highlight where the changes that were made?
He did in the email, I believe.
I
In
I didn't
the
open
email
email.
itself.
No,
but I'm saying the
I don't
email
think I
itself.
did. I think I sent you, well, first of all, to clarify, the original draft came from the rec commission. I'm not sure where they got it, but there's some wording in there that leads me to believe it was from Pennsylvania because there was reference to boards of selectmen and other things, so.
So they didn't take the original Greenwich Township Recreation Commission?
Again, I'm not sure where they got this from. I went through and changed a lot of things because it was a little bit contradictory to our ordinance in terms of numbers
So-
of,
Okay, so you went by the ordinances
Yeah.
that are established by Greenwich Township?
right.
Can I speak to that for just 1 second?
That is
As far
appropriate.
as the bylaws with the rec, there really weren't any real set of bylaws such as what you have here. What they had was a old, I think going back to like to the 50s, or maybe when.
No, Dan, that's not true.
No,
There
well,
were bylaws.
The bylaws that I had when I was there, like, let me speak, please, before you
Oh,
interrupt
no,
me, and
go
then
ahead.
you can speak.
Go ahead, Dan.
The bylaws that I had when I was there, Elaine, was just that set. I didn't have a real set of bylaws. What I had was an old set of bylaws from back in the 50s. Didn't really have a lot to it. Now, if there was a set of bylaws, I never saw them and I didn't know of them. And neither did the other people who were involved with recreation at that time. So if there is another set, I don't know of them, and neither did the others that were involved with recreation at that time.
Well, I'm sorry, Dan, Janet Comerford sent me the bylaws that she sent to you
No.
and left you.
I don't have them.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
okay.
that.
All right, yeah, I'm not here to argue with you, Elaine. I'm just
You're right,
telling, I'm
Dan.
telling you,
No
I'm telling you
one's
what
here
I
to
know,
argue.
and that's the end of it.
Just
No,
by,
it is
just
the
by
end, Dan.
way
Well,
of,
you know, it always seems that you have to interject with something,
I
you know,
do,
when,
Dan.
if I tell you that I don't know of them, then I'm telling you what I know, Elaine.
And I'm telling you
Okay?
what I know.
All right, well, that's
We'll agree to
what I know,
disagree, Dan.
Peter.
just by
Okay.
way of clarification, the statute that's in the statute relating to boards of
Which is the
recreation.
most important thing that the recreation bylaws do affect what Greenwich Township statutes say.
Yeah, well,
And that's my most
yeah,
critical
there's
thing.
the Greenwich Code or ordinance, there's also the state statute. And the state statute says that the Board of Recreation Commissioners may adopt a board seal, suitable rules, regulations, and bylaws for the use thereof. So, at least theoretically, they have the power to adopt these themselves. I think they decided to send them to the Township Committee because they're part of the township operations and they wanted you to be comfortable with them. Also, you supply a lot of their funds. So, again, it's just a matter of you deciding whether you have any questions or problems with these bylaws.
You're telling me that you put them with the ordinances that apply to Greenwich Township and the state of New Jersey, and you did not use anything that was involved with the state of Pennsylvania or independence of any kind, that it revolves around what the ordinances and the operation of Greenwich Township?
I'm not sure what your question is, Elaine. I took,
There is no question, Peter, it's a statement. Is that what you've done?
yeah, I took their
Okay.
their draft.
Their draft.
I conformed it to Greenwich Township's code and to the state statute.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. And then the only question that was a little bit up in the air was the issue of who appoints the president of the board. And they set it up such that they recommend the president, and you are the ones who actually appoint the president. The other officers, they appoint themselves.
Yeah.
So, assuming that's satisfactory,
I didn't get a chance to read through the whole thing, but I'm
Yeah.
sure that if you've done that, then
yeah.
that's.
I thought that was a reasonable setup.
So how would we do it in the past with the president? Yeah.
And they were always voted through the committee, through the rec commission.
I don't remember the committee getting involved in the appointment of the president of rec.
What the committee can do, they can appoint someone to recreation, because it was done before. The committee does have the right to appoint someone to recreation if a person, like in the case when we didn't have a treasurer and then a person was appointed to rec to be the treasurer, who was a person who had financial knowledge and all that stuff. But for the most part, most of the time, recreation itself votes for their own officers and the president and everything else.
So Peter, you're saying now they want
The
to
way
recommend someone?
the way this is set up, they would elect their own officers except for the president. They would recommend somebody as president to the township
That's
committee.
officers, yes.
Yeah, and then the township committee would confirm.
What happened before Dan was involved in rec, when Janet Comerford was involved, she would bring names to the governing body and would bring the names of the people that she wanted on rec, or that the rec people had thought would be a good person to be on, and the mayor and or township committee would appoint them based on the fact of the recommendation of the people. They did not appoint people to the rec board on their own.
Well, we're not talking about
Totally
we're
different.
not talking
No,
about
we're not
That's
saying
what
that.
Dan is saying.
Yeah, we're talking about officers.
Wait, no, wait a minute, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that within the rec, they appointed, maybe in the wrong way, they voted for the officers within recreation.
Right.
That's what they
We're
did.
differentiating between the members and the officers.
Okay.
Right.
You guys are appointing the mayor, under our ordinance and under the state statute, appoints
That's right.
all of the members
That's right.
of the board. Then the members get together and they elect their own officers,
Exactly.
except for the president now, who's going to be recommended by the
And
board
that's
to
the
the
way,
committee.
that's the way the rec ran before.
Okay, well, so I guess they're picking up on that. And this might, for all I know, this might have been their old bylaws that they just,
That I sent to Angie a long time ago.
yeah, that maybe, and never, and maybe came out of Pennsylvania originally, because he keeps referring to boards of selectmen or something that we don't have in New Jersey, so.
So this is not something we have to approve or,
Well, they've asked you to approve it,
okay.
so I think it would be a good idea for you to approve it.
Do you need some time, Elaine, or to review this?
No, I don't have a problem with it. I'm sure that the other board members have read it. I don't have a problem with it.
All right. Well, how about a motion then?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
So the motion would be, let's make it a
To
formal
adopt the-
resolution, be it
yeah.
resolved that the Township Committee of the Township of Greenwich hereby approves
The
the,
resolution, 1025.
and the draft Recreation Commission bylaws of the Greenwich Township Recreation Commission dated 10/25/11.
Emiliani, yes. Williams,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Gurneak,
Joe, we're voting.
Okay, go ahead.
No, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, yes. Sorry.
Segal.
Yes. Anything else, Joe?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Bruce?
Okay, the first item I have is sort of a cleanup. Last year, we went to the employees and basically asked them to voluntarily switch to a lower cost medical plan, which they did. We went to the police department, we went to municipal employees and did that. In the meantime, we've negotiated both the police contract and the DPW contract, and in those contracts, we specified that lower cost, which we'll call Direct 15 program, was a standard program. There are others available through the state, but we made it part of the contract that if someone chose other than our standard one, that they'd have to pay the cost difference for that. That's in addition to the other contributions they make for their health plan according to the new pensions reform act. And so that was incorporated in both the DPW and the police contract. And basically what this resolution is to incorporate that same thing into the employee manual to just kind of close up a loophole so that for employees, we have a standard program, they have others available. If they want the others, they have to pay for the difference. Okay?
I think it's to memorialize what has been already enacted, so
Does
that
it talk about the 1.5%?
Yeah, that's
There's no
in-
copy in here.
yeah, that's in here.
Yes, Peter handed it
It's
back.
in front of you.
It's in front of me?
Yeah. It says,
It's not in your book.
this is actually lifted from the police contract.
I just had a question about, do you want to make it where, that we don't have to go back and change it every time, that we can stay with whatever the state changes to?
I think that's what it does. It says employees will contribute the greater of 1.5% of their regular salary wages towards the cost of medical and dental insurance coverage for their family, or B, the amount of contribution provided for in Chapter 78 PL 2011 Pension and Health Benefit Reform Act.
Is it the thicker one?
2 pages.
2 pages.
It's in front of you.
Yeah, it's right there, yeah.
Okay, I got it.
If you look at the second
I
page,
got so
Elaine,
many pages in
the,
there.
the underlined language is what was,
Okay, good.
was added,
That's good, then we don't have to go back and change it later.
yeah.
That's perfect.
Okay, so if there's no other, okay, so I'll second the motion to adopt resolution. What's the number of this?
Yeah.
2011-95.
That's 95. I'll second.
Person who made the motion?
I did.
Okay, Bruce second.
Right.
Okay. Emiliani?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Perez?
Yes.
Gurneak?
Yes.
Segal?
Yes.
Okay, the other thing that I want to talk to, I'll put under the heading of new business, is since my time here is growing kind of short, there's one thing that's kind of bothered me for a while, is that in terms of our procedures that we go through for hiring people, okay, sometimes we go out and advertise and interview people, especially for something like a CFO position or so on, and other times we don't. And I think it really should be a matter of ordinance, a policy, that for any open position, we should advertise for it, we should interview, at least all the committee members should have an opportunity to interview the applicants, and that then the committee would make a decision as to who to hire on that. Whether it's a small job or a big job, you know, the cost of advertising is nothing compared to the cost of not getting the best possible employee. So, what I'd like is basically, you know, get the authorization for Peter to prepare an ordinance for first reading at our November 10th meeting that would execute that.
You would have to let me know what kind of advertising you're thinking in terms of, you know, putting it on the website, putting it in the newspaper,
What would be
posting it
your,
on the
We do have
bulletin.
something that requires us to do that now.
But we didn't
No.
have to legally advertise.
Yeah, there's not any state statute that I'm aware of that requires advertising, but you can establish that yourselves if you want to.
But we do that, don't we?
I don't know.
we do it when we choose to do it, but
But
we
as a
don't
governing
ever.
body, we have to authorize that to be done. Yeah.
But there's nothing that says we have to authorize it to be done.
No, that's up to you. It's-
No, we have to, as a governing body, come in and authorize something to be done and put in the newspaper to authorize a position to be
Right, that's to
filled.
advertise it, that's if we choose to advertise it. If we choose not to, we're not voting on it.
Okay, did we advertise the last position?
CFO, yes,
Did we authorize it to be?
yes,
No, we didn't.
yes, we did.
No, you chose to run the ad.
No, we voted on it. If you go back in the minutes, you'll find that we voted on it.
No, we didn't. We put the ad in the paper without authorizing it.
Well, okay, so let's say it's one more loophole to close up is, I mean, I think it, you know, it's spending money, we should authorize it, but basically I want to make it a requirement, okay, that any position that we plan on hiring for, that it be advertised, and that the applicants be interviewed by committee people before a decision is
I
made.
do want to ask a question of Elaine now. Did you not want to advertise the CFO position?
That's not it. We're talking about the procedure. The procedure wasn't done.
Okay, so normal advertising for when we look to fill a position, Kim, how do we advertise?
Well,
To fill a position here
Yeah.
in the township, I would have direction to advertise for the position
By the governing body.
by the governing body.
But we would, do we need to specify certain papers or something that we would,
Well,
or does
no,
it
in the
depend on the
beginning of
position?
Beginning of the year, we actually named the papers that are our official
Okay.
papers.
Well, I put it in the express times, and then from there they forward it down the line to the state
Right,
legislature.
so the advertising would be both by posting it on our website and by publishing it in the paper.
but then the CFO position, we not only advertise in the newspaper and on the township website, but we also, there was a CFO conference and Grace took the job rec to that conference. I mean, we're better to identify candidates for a CFO position than the state CFO conference.
And
It was
depending on the
also in the
position,
municipalities book.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
right.
and depending on the position, there might be special places to advertise it, like in the court, there's a court personnel docket that you can put it up in their system too.
Well, we've done that in the past.
Yeah.
If it's court-related position, we've advertised for that on the website.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to give whoever's doing it a certain amount of latitude as to how it should be done, because newspapers are fast becoming somewhat outmoded, and there may be more efficient ways to do it electronically, online. So, I mean, if you want me to prepare some sort of a proposed ordinance, I'll do it if I understand what it is you want me to do.
Well, could you prepare something and then maybe send it to us and we can review it before the November 10th meeting?
Yeah,
Um,
I
I just want
could.
to interject here for 1 second. One thing I would suggest is that it can't hurt you to have this in place, because your employment practice liability insurance would encourage you to do something like this, so that you don't put yourselves in an awkward position going forward. So I would suggest not only that you do the ordinance, but that you may want to bring this up at, you all know you have to go to training down at the league, or you should go to the training down at the league, and I'm sure that this is a perfect subject for that agenda item at the league, because it's all about doing everything uniform and doing everything right, so that you don't end up in the only reason I know this is because I'm the treasurer of a joint insurance fund, and I hear about this all the time, is that, you really need to have good set policies so that it's clearly set out every time you hire someone.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay, so do you need any more guidance?
No,
Peter?
if
You got it?
I have any questions, I'll call you.
So can I have a motion to authorize Peter to adopt a resolution regarding, what do you want to call it?
To draft an ordinance.
Draft an ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Miliani,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Gurneak,
Yes.
Segal.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Elaine?
The sewer subcommittee item was taken care of, thank you. Farm leases, Peter, you have an update on that?
Yeah, I prepared one, circulated it. I should try to have all the rest of them by the November the 10th meeting. That's what my hope is.
November 10th meeting?
Yeah, so I think it's been expressed that we'd like to have these all ready before the end of the year, so that,
So I can tell Dawn Marie by November 10th?
yeah.
Got it. There's a letter that I need a motion to have Tanya sign tonight, to go to, the Ag Board with regards to the 2010 PIG grant application for Corey up at for the Ag Board. Do you have that one?
It's in the
Okay.
So I should
So I
find
need
a
a
motion
motion.
in my packet?
The original I did.
I'll make a motion to authorize Tanya
Thank you.
to sign
I'll
this.
second that. Vote Kim.
Miliani,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Gurneak, Segal.
Yes.
I don't have this letter that the planning board sent in. that was sent in by the Warren County Planning Board. I don't have this letter here in my possession because this weekend was crazy, so I don't have my paperwork from the house. So can we table this to November 10th until I can find this letter, or unless you have a copy of it from
I don't
Deck?
have a copy, but I can see if I can get a copy.
From Deck. Well, I might have it at the house, so I don't have it here with me. That I got at the planning board meeting about this Morris Canal, but it was dated July 15th. It was sent to Tanya, and then it got to the planning board meeting.
Well, I think I handed it off to Alice.
You can do off towels. I don't know where I put it. So the planning board brought it to mine and Bruce's attention and asked us if we knew anything about it, and I don't have it here with me tonight. But Dave Deck was in July asking for someone from the township to represent at the planning board for the Morris County Canal from the planning board, someone to represent, so that they could work on these 4 meetings that understood planning. But I would rather have the letter so that we could completely understand what the request is, because this is an in-depth, a 4-meeting, in-depth project, and I think 2 meetings have already passed. But it's okay between now and November 10th, because there's not another meeting. I think the next meeting is January, and then the following meeting is April. But it's pretty well, but, so I'd like to table that. And then, that's it, Peter?
Okay.
I think Dan would like,
Oh.
didn't you want to?
Yeah, we just had two quick things. One is, we received a thank you card from the Girl Scout Troop 9430, 94310, I'm sorry. It's a thank you card, talking about Community Day. For those of you that weren't at our last meeting, Community Day was a success. We got it through without the rain that day. Thanks to Kim and Elaine for all the hard work that the two of you put into this, and the rest of the committee. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, so the card says, "Dear Mr. Perez and members of the Greenwich Township Committee, we sincerely thank you for allowing us to have our lemonade stand at Community Day this year. We were able to raise funds so that we can go on all the educational and fun trips we have planned. It was very successful, and we could not have done it without your help. Thank you very much. Sincerely, Girl Scout Troop 94310. So it's nice of them to send us a card, so I thank them for that. And again, thank you all for the help that you gave us with Community Day. The second issue that I have is, I was talking with Sharon and Grace about their door and the security that they actually need to have with it because of money coming through. And Sharon, the way she sits in there, she sits with her back to the door. So, and at times when you come in here, people are out to lunch. Sometimes Sharon's here by herself. Sometimes Kim's here by herself too. So what